welcome to Talk Good Games match preview of Arsenal against West Ham United. Gonzo, can you kick off with your thoughts on the Gunners, please?
Yeah, well, I've got to be honest with you, I don't really watch them on purpose. I try not to watch them. I will avoid them at all costs, basically, because I don't really like the manager. I don't like the manager at all. And look, I think two of the nicest people in football were probably Rob Edwards and Eddie Howe. And if you can sort of go for them, then I think it probably says everything about him. They call him whatever the Premier League Simeone. I think he's pretty bad. I think it's a pretty bad look, and it's it makes me not want to watch them really. So I don't. Everything that happened with the Declan Rice situation over the summer as well. I've never quite known as. Was quite a trolling experience as well. So try to put that out of my mind. But they are a very good team. He's a very, very talented coach. I mean, he clearly is incredibly talented. And I think, they've gone away and they've got a really good draw at Anfield, which was actually fun enough. I think that was the start of their demise. I think there were 3 fixtures last season, which probably stopped them winning the title as I saw it. I think it was as the Anfield one where they looked to be playing really, really well there. I think they had a nasty result against Everton. And then I think, funny enough, it was the architect of their downfall against us where they really needed 3 points was Declan Rice. We pressed really high that day and he nicked the ball off Thomas Partey, as I remember it, which sort of created a goal. So I think those 3 games, but he's an incredibly talented coach. And I think the way he sort of cut the cancer out of the club by dealing with players like Mesut Ozil just seemed to be, hanging on, doing nothing, taking big, massive wages, dealt with Aubameyang as well, didn't he? So, look, as a coach, brilliant. Maybe the most talented, quite possibly the most talented. He needs to win some big trophies to prove that. As a man, not for me.
I think they're fantastic, unfortunately. I hate saying it, to be honest with you. I never really minded Arsenal. I think growing up, because they played really good football, it was like a team I didn't mind watching in order to learn about football, if you like. So I've never really had anything against them. But Arteta does make it difficult to find yourself wanting them to displace Manchester City at the top. And there is a desperation, I think, from some neutrals to see someone winning, not Man City. But even when it comes to Arsenal v Man City, you find yourself thinking, actually, one more year of Pep might not be a bad thing if it prevents them. But I think the way they play football is brilliant. I think they've got a real hardness about them. But they had it last season where the first 2/3 of the season, they had that character, they had that determination where they were getting late winners. And you think that's a sign of a really good team that keeps going, doesn't let their head drop, and they just find a way to win. They tend to go on and win trophies. And obviously last season, it fell apart from them towards the end. Obviously, at the same time, Manchester City hit form, just didn't stop hitting form. And I think you have to assume that's going to happen again. You have to assume now that De Bruyne is pretty much back for Man City, he's back in training as well. So I think possibly in a couple of games' time, we're going to see De Bruyne and Haaland start for Man City for the first time this season. And you have to assume that they're going to start churning out goals and points, and they're going to go like a train. It's just not going to stop between now and the end of the season. So the challenge is on Arsenal, plus a couple of other teams, is, well, you've got a bit of a very slim head start. Can you beat that Man City team over the second half of the season? I think it'll be very difficult for them. But, the first couple of seasons, Arteta finished 8th. He's got last season a narrow missed out on title, but they have improved once again. They've taken another step up, I think. Whether that's enough to win the penalty title, well, actually, what do you think? Do you think they'll?
I actually do. I think they will win it. I do. Yeah. Unfortunately, I do think they'll win it. Which is it's because we work on the internet. It's painful. It makes it very, very painful. Actually, because I do think trolls per fan base, they've probably got the highest. So it's I never even read the comments when we do Arsenal videos, but it's I don't get me wrong. Arsenal I don't want to be too mean on them because Arsenal got a lot. I know the Arsenal fans that you know and you meet in the street or you might work with.
It's an online thing.
Fine. Yes, their online fans are horrendous. They are the very essence of trolls. I don't know if that's fed in because the Arsenal fan TV or something like that. But you've only got to watch their webcams. Look at West Ham. Look at West Ham fan TV webcam. People are waiting for their turn. They wait in line. And they have their say. It's like a brawl at an Arsenal game. Honestly, they're interrupting each other. They're on top of each other. It's Yeah, I don't the whole experience I don't like. So unfortunately, I think they are a brilliant. Excuse me, they're a brilliant team, Gio. They really are. With some amazing players, a very talented coach, and I think it's going to be hard. I think it's hard even for Man City to bridge that gap. I know it's not massive, but I do think it's going to be tough. I don't think Tottenham can do it. I'm not entirely. It's possibly might be up to Liverpool. I'm not sure they've got it in them, quite frankly, and they needed to win at Anfield. I think not that one game will. I just have a hunch. I have a hunch that they'll win it.
Yeah, I have a hunch Liverpool will win it. I've had it since the start of the season, to be fair. And I for what it's worth, I actually think Arsenal will finish above Man City. I think they might actually finally do it, which is we've beat Man City and previously if you did that, you won the Premier League title, simple as. But I think this year might actually be the year where actually two teams beat Man City in the league, and one of them's obviously going to miss out on title. So I think Liverpool will win it, but I think Arsenal will still finish above Man City. Doesn't mean they'll be empty-handed though. In a weird way, it becomes a problem if you're in title race so late on in the season because you put all your eggs in that basket, and perhaps comes the FA Cup, they might think, no, we don't fancy it. They've got Liverpool in the FA Cup, haven't they? Am I right in saying they've got Liverpool in the FA Cup?
I don't know.
I think they do. So it would become that game. I think you might find both managers go, don't really fancy this one, actually. They've also got the Champions League. So I wouldn't be surprised if they win silverware. They're bloody good enough, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I just don't think it'll be a Premier League title. And I think, forgive me for this, Hammers Chat subscribers, Declan Rice has made a huge difference. He's made a massive difference at that club. Whenever I watch Arsenal play, not so much the Liverpool game, but previous games where he's sometimes the best player on the pitch. And it's no surprise to West Ham fans. And the one thing it doesn't irritate me as much as I thought it would. You know, when he went to Arsenal in the summer, I thought, I know what's going to happen. He's going to go there, give it a handful of games, and all these plaudits about Rice being world class is going to come out as if it's happened overnight, as if he's gone from average at West Ham to world class, just like that. And we West Ham fans, only those who have some don't think he's world class, that's fine, but those of us who did think he was world class at West Ham, like myself, will know he played like he is now at West Ham. We've seen it week in, week out with us, and it's just now he goes to Arsenal. Then he starts getting sort of national recognition for it. Has he improved at Arsenal? Yeah, I think he has actually. I think you say improved, evolved perhaps, because he's playing in a completely different team. He's playing in a team that has the ball, that has possession. The demand on Declan Rice is different at Arsenal than it was at West Ham. So I would suggest that he's changed the way that he plays to suit Arsenal overnight. I would suggest he's done that. But he already had examples of that when he went to play for England. The way he played for England was different to the way he played for West Ham. While there's similarities in sort of a defensive coach, there's a definite difference in terms of which team has possession, which team is expected to win the game. So he had that when he went away with England. I think his experience playing for England has possibly helped him at Arsenal. But you look at him now, and when he was linked to Arsenal, and there was this, he's not guaranteed to win trophies there, which is still true. But I remember thinking, if he's looking at Arsenal, thinking, actually, there was 5 points between them and Man City last season. I thought, if Rice was looking at Arsenal last season, thinking, I can be the difference, I can get you that 5 points. Well, I thought fair play to him. But also then against Luton, he went and got that win in the last minute. I thought, well, there you go, there's your proof. It's not even just that, it's the defensive side of the game, but there's your proof that Rice is actually adding points to that Arsenal team, which may be enough to get them the Premier League title. You think it will. I don't, but I think it'll be enough to bridge the gap between them and Man City, which was his expectation. The last question before we do the players on Arsenal. The thing that I possibly find most impressive in what they've done over recent years, Gonzo, is I think they're here to stay. At the top next season, I expect them to be challenging. The season after that, I expect them to be challenging. They've got a young squad, a young manager, a lot of money to spend. Not billions, but they're still spending a lot of money on that team. And it feels like they were a bit of a basket case club for a few seasons. But now it feels like they've got a plan. They know what they're doing. It's working. And actually, for the next few seasons, there's stability at that club now.
Yeah, I think you have to cycle through a number of. I mean, they didn't like the owner. Let's start with that. They did not like Kroenke at all. To the point where just before Arteta came, or actually even when Arteta came in initially, they wanted Kroenke out. And I think particularly when overseas investment comes in, I'm not suggesting that ours get it right, by the way, but I'm just saying sometimes when overseas investment come in, they almost have to go through this cycle of going through managers and trying stuff. And and maybe I know they've got, I guess Edu's still there as director of football, but maybe changing the infrastructure of the club, and they might get it wrong on a number of occasions. First, is what I'm saying. I mean, look at the Glazers. I mean, the Glazers lucked in when they got Man U and Alec Ferguson was there. There was nothing the Glazers did, right? And now you're seeing whatever, I don't know, however long he's gone, 10 years or whatever it might have been, you're now seeing the net result of their decisions, and it's pretty crap. You've got the fella's gone in at Chelsea, and he's trying to pick a manager, and you get the impression he'll try and pick another manager and another manager. Eventually, these clubs are, maybe not Chelsea, but these clubs are so big that they, that when they get it right and when they get the right manager and everything's in place, then they're set to go. And Arsenal are a really, really big club. They really are. And you get to this point whereby they've now, whatever, stumbled across the right manager, found him. You think it's perception if someone does it the first time. If what an ownership comes in, he takes a few years to sort it out. You think, again, you've got to, eventually you'll get there when your club is that big. And I think Man U will get there. I'm quite sure when Klopp leaves, if Liverpool have maybe still got Fenway there, they might struggle a little bit. You've got to have the right man at the top. And listen, irrespective of whether I like him or not, Arteta is the right man at the top. Arsenal fans will not care a jot about what I say about Arteta. They don't care if no one likes him or no one likes Arteta. You don't. If you're winning, and who cares? Because they've got him, they don't need much every season. So if they add 100, would they have 100 million to spend every season? Yes, they will. Is that going to be enough? Yes, because the foundations are so good. The team's so young. Pay attention, West Ham. That's what happens when you have a young team. You don't have to constantly refresh and bring lots and lots of players in every season, because the core of your team, be they Martinelli and Saka and people like that, are so young. Just one player each season, 100 million, will keep them at the top. I really think it will. So yeah, I do think they're there to stay. And to be fair, they've got. I know we thumped them in the FA Youth Cup final, but they had some good players there. At Arsenal, watched their youth teams a couple of times last season. They do have some talented young players to come through as well. So they're in good. They're in fine fettle, put it that way.
Persian Mayor.
Going to one of the meanest people in football to one of the nicest, really. I think Saka is a really, really nice guy, lovely guy. Does an awful lot for charity. You won't hear a single person say a bad word about him. He's a gem. He really is, and he's a brilliant player. And he's obviously one of their own. So he's really good to watch. I like Odegaard. I like watching that guy play football. I don't know if it's the footedness or whatever, but there's something elegant, really, really elegant about him. So he's really good. They got lots and lots of good players. Joe, as I say, I've not deliberately not watched them this season. I remember last year I liked the centre Saliba, the centre back there, but he was a good player as well. So. Lots and lots to admire players-wise at that club.
Yeah, one of the best, Saliba. I think last season he was fantastic. This season he's just as good, and they've got a top centre back there that's really consistent week out, and one of the best in the Premier League in his position. I think Van Dijk's up there again this season. I think Torres at Villa possibly, and then that three are maybe in a league of their own as far as I'm concerned. I think he's absolutely fantastic. Odegaard, I agree. I think elegant's the right word to describe him. Rice has gone in there and done brilliantly. Saka's a really good player. I've always been a big fan of Martinelli. It feels like he's been a bit quiet recently, but he'll come back round. He's got goals and assists in him. He's a fantastic player, a real danger, and someone that I'm a little bit worried about ahead of this fixture. And one player, there's always a new player every season that really irritates me. Like Bruno Fernandes used to, but he stopped out. I've just got used to him being a little rat.
Can I stop you there?
Yeah.
Whenever you do this, I can't unsee it.
Okay, well,
so at the moment, I may well think well of this player. So I'm now going to look for it. So tell me, who is he?
Zinchenko. Can't stand him. Constantly just barking at the referee. I honestly, I really don't like him. I just think he's a whingy little bugger, actually. In terms of players I just like at Arsenal, there's not that many, actually. I don't mind him, but for some reason, he just really irritates me. He's just got a little whiny little face. Not quite.
He's got one of those faces. He has got one of those faces. I'm going to look out for him whining now.
Yeah, he's not quite on the Bruno Fernandes level yet.
Do you know who else was like that? Sorry. One of those, and was Samir Nasri for me. And I know he played for us for a bit as well. I found him. He played for Arsenal and Arsenal and Man City, didn't of course. But yeah. It was something. I don't know. Anyway, there you go.
Anyway, from Arsenal players' faces to West Ham, start off with a little bit of team news. About 5 weeks ago, David Moyes said Mikel Antonio will be out for 2 weeks. He's still not back yet. Everyone else should be okay. We're missing Neil Figueroa and Maxwell Kearney, one due to illness and one due to, well, we don't know what, but we'll call it illness just to give the manager the benefit of the doubt. They should both be okay for this one. You'd imagine they're fine. So apart from Mikel Antonio, we've got a complete squad to choose from, Gonzo. Me and Gonzo are going to do the team that we want to see in just a minute. But before we do, I have a big question for you. Can you predict the score of Burnley at home to Liverpool later on today? Can you also predict the score of Man United against Aston Villa? I know we're all thinking, yeah, Villa win. Hey, Villa's winning that one, aren't they? Then tomorrow we've got Chelsea against Palace, followed by Everton against Manchester City. Then the following day, which is on 28th, we've got Brighton at home to Tottenham and Arsenal at home to West Ham. If you think you can predict the scores of those games, then get involved with BetMGM. You can download the link, which is free to download, free to sign up, and play Golden Goals, which is free to play as well. You predict the 6 scores, and should you get 3 right, you probably, not guaranteed, you probably win a share of £5,000 over the last few weeks. 3's been enough to grab it. A few weeks ago, there was only 2 people that achieved 3 correct scores, so they shared £2,500 each. Happy days. But should you get all 6 right, you win a share of 2 million. I say a share, you're probably going to be the only one, but there's a £2 million jackpot there to play. So it's free to play, 2 million prize. All you have to do is predict the scores of 6 games. Use the link in the description though. That's really important, because then Hamish Chat, myself and Gonzo get credited and say, hey, thanks for promoting it, BetMGM. Here's a little reimbursement for you. Now, it is a gambling app though, so you do have to be 18 plus, and please do gamble responsibly. However, to play Golden Goals, it's free. You do not need to deposit any money whatsoever. Gonzo, the team you want to see?
Yes, indeed.
The man with the gloves. Who are you going for?
I will give Alphonse Areola my glove. I'm not giving my gloves. He's probably got his own, but he can wear his own gloves and play in that match. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's a little bit flip-floppy now, isn't it? Because we've had Areola's injury and Fabianski's performed well. Hey, we're Lucas Fabianski number 1, please. And now Areola's played the last 2 games. Obviously, the Liverpool one will write off, but he was fine against Man United. So we've got 2 keepers in good form at the minute, actually. So I'll go with Areola as well, only because he was the number 1. But should he prefer Fabianski for this one, I wouldn't grumble too much. I get it. So Moyes can't really do anything wrong with a keeper as far as I'm concerned. Moving into your defence, this is where you've got say you. Moyes has got a big call to make, but I'm intrigued to see what you like centre-back.
I never thought of this. That's why it's a surprise to me. I knew we were going to preview this game. I hadn't given it any thought. You're right. There is a decision to make. We've got a Mavropanos, a budding Mavropanos and Zuma partnership, which we've just seen. We've got a Gerd and Zuma. We've had some clean sheets. This is interesting. This is very, very interesting, actually.
But you've also got Mavropanos and a Gerd who started together when we beat them in the League Cup.
Okay, I've got to look. Zuma got man of the match in the last game. He has to start. And also, I know he can't play 2 games a week. They've had a nice little break. I think Moyes was in a position. We've been really lucky. This is massive fixture congestion for everybody else. For us, we've been playing 2 games a week for 3 years, but it feels like anyway. Do you know what I mean? Actually, for us to not play, what did we play? 23rd? Is that when we played 23rd?
There's 5 days between Man United and this one, and then we've got 5 days between this one and the next one, which I was going to save this, but I'll say now, Arsenal don't have that luxury. Arsenal played on the 28th against us, then they play on the 31st against Fulham. We don't play again until the 2nd. So we, for possibly the first time, maybe the only time this season, we actually have an advantage because we played on the Saturday. Arsenal played Saturday as well, but later on at 5:30. So this is the best game that we've had in terms of less fixtures.
Yeah, I mean, literally, the Premier League fixture list have given me Christmas. They've been very ungrinchy this year, so I'm very, very grateful to that. Look, my point is that Zuma can play these games because I think Moyes could have given the players, well, he would have given them at least 1 day off because even Moyes ain't that grinchy. So I think they'd have had 1 or 2 days off. They really benefited from that last time when he had to do it following the Fulham thrashing that we had. So I think I'm going to go with Zuma. I'm gonna go with Zuma, and I'm gonna go with a Gerd because of counter attack, the long passing. The long passing could be key. Yes, Zuma and a Gerd, and obviously Emerson and Soufal.
I'm going to go Mavropanos and Zuma. I
cheeky.
think I understand why anyone would go. To be fair, I understand why anybody would select any of the three combination. I do get it, but I think Mavropanos looked a little bit jittery at the start against Man United, but he got stronger as the game went on. Up against his former club, of course, for this one. And I just think Mavropanos needs a run of games. We've got the African nations coming up where Gerd does appear. So actually, I'm thinking, let's get Mavropanos in the team now with Zuma and just leave him in the team because it's possible. It should be okay, but we'll play Brighton on the 2nd, and we've got a game against Bristol City on the 7th. But if Moyes is looking at games to rest Zuma, possibly, Mavropanos is still going to have to play. He's going to be the one that has to play every single fixture until Gerd gets back. Mavropanos has to play. So let's get him in now, getting up and running, rather than this hooky-cooky in and out the team thing. So Soufal, Mavropanos, Zuma, and Emerson for myself, who I thought were fantastic against Man United. Moving into midfield, is there any options, or does it sort of pick itself?
No, look, I mean, see, the thing is, even if Cornet is not available, even if he was, he wouldn't be available, if you know what I mean. So you're looking, there's nobody else. I looked at that bench when we played Man United, and there was nobody to come on to. There was no game changer on there. Nobody. Yeah. So anyone, if we're going to drop anyone, I would want one of two things. It would probably be Souček that got dropped. Who? There's nobody there who I think could come in and do a better job than Souček. So I think they're in. It's not a problem. Therein lies the answer. Also, I think the way Souček played, he allowed the other players to play. Souček just being disciplined and holding his position allowed Prowse to press high. It allowed Paqueta to roam and eventually find positions or whatever, get instructed to find positions, pockets of space to dictate the play. And I think it allowed Bowen and Kudus to do their stuff as well, just by him being disciplined. Okay, there was no goal from a set play, but he's there if we need that as well. So I really do. I think the team, and I've just mentioned all the players there, well, apart from Alvarez, which is bloody obvious. I think the team picks itself, really. Not the defence, but the rest of it does.
Yeah, so Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, and Thomas Souček. Now, your front three will obviously consist of Kudus, Bowen, and Paqueta, but how would you like them to line up? Because obviously for 65 minutes against Man United, we're seeing Kudus on the right, Bowen up front, Paqueta on the left. But we got the goals when Paqueta went central and Bowen moved over to the right-hand side. So would you like to see us start with that, or start as we have been with the possibility of switching up?
I've come to the conclusion that I don't care because I now know that we'll do it at some point in the game, and I suspected that, and I thought it afterwards. It wasn't in the immediate review, but maybe in the video did the day after. I thought to myself, well, okay, they're just going to switch, and that's something that they're going to do. And if he can do it within the parameters of keeping the same players on the pitch, then he's going to do it. And then I listened to Jarrod Bowen's interview, and then Kudus, and they both said the same thing, which they can switch and they can swap positions. The whole lot, the evidence before me and what they said, led me to think, well, okay, this is the tactical plan. This is it. So realistically, at some point, we are going to play where Paqueta sticks to the left-hand side. During that part, I think we'll see some really good exchanges with him and Emerson. Then there will be a point in the game where Kudus swaps over with Bowen, where Paqueta will go a roaming, and where James Ward-Prowse will either drop back, push in, or hang on the left. And I think we've got... I actually quite like it. I've got to be honest. I like the uncertainty that it will create. I often would like a manager, the opposition manager, as you know, to get a surprise on the team sheet. 1 hour before the game, have the opposition manager scrambling around thinking, oh, I didn't expect that. We can't do that because we play the same bloody 11 players all the time. So we can't offer surprise when the team sheet goes in. What we can do is offer surprise during the game. And if you have 4 players swapping positions, now they will know, Arsenal will know that we are going to do that. There's no doubt about it. But what they're going to have to do, because I thought we played 3 different ways during that game, and somebody with a better tactical brain than me will possibly tell me different, right? But that's how I saw it, right? That means that they're going to have 3 combinations to deal with that. Now, And I certainly know from rugby when they're facing a line-out call, the more line-out options the opposition have, you have to have calls for it all. So they're going to do this. So it might A, B, C. The moment you offer more, you're encouraging confusion. And I think we can do that. So ultimately, Gio, I don't care because I know each one of those three is going to happen throughout the game. I suspect Moyes will do exactly what he did against Man U, though, because I think his option for keeping it tight is to start with Paqueta on the left and do the whole Emerson thing there. But yeah, don't mind really.
Yeah, on the assumption Arsenal start with grumpy face Zinchenko, he will go wandering, sometimes sort of drop into centre midfield, try and push Kai Havertz up a little bit. That might actually benefit us because what that will do is lessen the defensive work that Kudus has. Often we'll see Kudus chasing left backs back, and he will get back and help out. But if his direct opponent, Zinchenko, actually just moves 10, 15 yards into midfield, and if Havertz moves forward, that's fine. That's Souček's guy. Souček can get back and keep an eye on him. So what if Arsenal do play Zinchenko there and move him into the middle quite often, what that does is basically moves Kudus into the middle as well and has Bowen up front with Kudus just behind him. So we are able to counter-attack. A, Kudus is further up the pitch than usual, and B, he's more central than usual. So I actually think the way that Arsenal play might actually suit us setting up with Bowen as a striker and Kudus on the right. But regardless of whether Zinchenko plays or not, I want to see Kudus getting at his left back because he just causes chaos. He got Johnny Evans booked. He got Bruno Fernandes booked. He may have got Luke Shaw booked. Can't recall who Shaw fouled in order to get a booking, but the left back for Man United got booked as well. So at minimum, Kudus got 2 Man United players booked just by running at them. And I want him to see him do the same again. As a way of saying this evening, I don't even know what day. Are we on Tuesday? It's Tuesday today. Yeah, so Thursday night when we play Arsenal. Bloody hell. The 28th when we play Arsenal, because I want to see Kudus running at them on the 28th. But he can cause some real damage. But the one thing I would like is instead of waiting until the 70th minute to change it, because while you're right, we can offer a surprise. It's not that much of a surprise if we do it at the same time every game, right?
You're right. Yes,
you sort of remove the element because at some point, be like, they'll be speaking to his team. They'll do this at some point, but it won't. You don't need to worry about it until the hour mark at minimum. You don't need to worry about it. Well, actually, maybe 10 minutes to go in the first half. Change it just for that 10 minutes. Switch it back at half time, but for that 10 minutes, just change it up and go on the offensive. Have Paqueta central, put Bowen on the left, Kudus on the right, or like you said, drop Kudus in the 10. But I think that's more of an attacking move from Moyes, where he's got Paqueta, Kudus, Bowen, and then Ward-Prowse on that. I feel that's his way of going. We're going for it now. I accept and understand why he perhaps won't want to do that in the first half, but what he can do is put Paqueta central and move Bowen to the left and have Kudus on the right and leave Ward-Prowse where he is. So maybe just try something like that a little bit because Paqueta's been impressive playing central. He can hold the ball up well. He's good in the air and his passing's incredible. And it reminds me of Kane at Spurs when he had Son. Kane got the ball. Son knew, just run. Kane can drop that ball in behind the defence. He's fantastic at being a playmaker. Well, actually, if you've got Paqueta and then you've got Kudus and Bowen, knowing that all I have to do is make my run, he's had 5 assists. I know technically he's only had 4 because the first one against Man, you don't count. I don't give it. This is a fan channel. I'm giving them that assist. Farmers chat says he's had 5 assists in 2 games, and that's staying, right? Yeah. This man's had 5 assists in 2 games. Kudus benefiting with 3 goals, and Bowen's got 2 of them. You know, as soon as Paqueta gets the ball, move. So what better than have Paqueta central, picking the ball up, and 2 players either side of him goes. So Paqueta's restricted because he's facing the left-hand side of the pitch. Doesn't know what's behind him. It's fine. He's got Bowen. He's facing the right-hand side. He's fine. He's got Kudus. He's facing the middle. They're all happy. He's got 2 players to pick from. Doesn't always get it right, Paqueta. Sometimes can be a bit over-adventurous. Doesn't always get the pace of the ball right. That's fine. It's going to happen. Despite slagging off Bruno Fernandes earlier, I always remember what he says to Marcus Rashford. Don't worry about the 9 I get wrong. Just make sure you get the one that I get right. You take advantage of it and score. And we've got to do that with Paqueta. A lot of averages. Keep playing those through balls, and one of them will come off. And we've got 2 really clinical players at the minute. I know everybody doesn't like statistics, but that XG, expected goals, Kudus is outperforming it by 500% or something. That is one hell of a clinical player. So when you've got him, you've got a bloody chance. Gonzo, are actually pressured off for this game. Actually, we feel like the pressure's been on a few games. You know, Moyes put it on himself for the Man U one with the rotation against Liverpool. But I feel going into this one, actually, it's all on Arsenal. They need to win. If we lose, it's not the end of the world.
No. I mean, if you consider that we're probably chasing 7th or 8th this season, you're absolutely right. We can lose this game and still chase 7th or 8th. We're still in the last 16 in Europe and whatnot. And we got some Bristols to look forward to imminently as well. So I mean, things are pretty good in the West Ham world. Yeah, it's so tight at the top, isn't it? Really, obviously, just played out a draw at Anfield, as you say. The Man City will be expected to make a bit of a charge as well. And no, you just don't know what Aston Villa, the miracle of Aston Villa, really. I mean, well, I speak for myself. You know, I'd love to see Aston Villa win that league title. You know, I mean, it'd just be amazing for football. Would be the best result for English football. I've no doubt about that at all. So, can they sustain it? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Pressure. Be really good though. Maybe no pressure. Be really good if we could win this game away to Arsenal. If we could win this, I think it would be game on. I'd be really so much more confident that we could get European football for a 4th season in a row. I really, really would. So no, the pressure is on them now.
I still remain optimistic, regardless of this result. I still remain optimistic we can get European football. And I think where we are at the minute, we're in a good position. We can probably afford a few losses along the way and still achieve what we want to achieve. And whereas Arsenal can't afford to do that. And I'm sure they'll be out for revenge in some ways from the Carabao Cup. I'm sure it doesn't give Arteta sleepless nights that they're out that competition. But he might feel he underestimated us a little bit and maybe played one or two of his should have played one or two players from the start, because he ended up bringing them on, and that's the whole argument that we say, well, what's the point? You're going to bring them on, they're not much of a rest. Well, he did the same, tried to rest his superstars and had to bring them all off the bench in an emergency, so that rest didn't really happen. So he got that one wrong, and he'll be out to sort of make amends for it by winning this one. But listen, if you ask any Arsenal fan, would you rather win the cup against West Ham or the league game? I imagine most would pick the league game because they can go on and win the title off the back of it, not just this game, obviously. Are you confident?
No. I wouldn't be fair to say I'm confident. But what I will say is, we've got some players, and we've got some players who are the equal of their players. Funny enough, you talk about what's his name, Zinchenko's face. I bet if you are not a West Ham fan, I bet you hate Paqueta. I bet his face and he's rolling around would wind the hell out of you. I mean, he's if I wasn't a West Ham fan, he was playing against us. Honestly, I think my blood would be boiling. He is a wind up. He's a wind up merchant. He's a play actor.
Well, we obviously, as you know, I was in the home end for the Burnley game when we were away to Burnley. Those fans weren't particularly keen on Paqueta, let's put it that way. No other player got abused, but Paqueta did. And as soon as he went down a few times, and it was very, get up, you so-and-so and stuff.
It's everything. And he'll foul you, and he'll do all this. He might be the player version of Arteta, maybe. But anyway, but he's the same way that Arsenal fans won't care about what I say about Arteta. I wouldn't care what Arsenal fans think of Paqueta. So, but we have let's have a little think. Emerson, Alvarez, Paqueta, Kudus, and Bowen. We have players there who are the measure of anything Arsenal have. We have players that can cause them massive damage on the football pitch. You know, are really, really good players. Who any one of those players is probably capable of getting man of the match, right? And I mean for either team, and that means we're in with a chance. And then I'm going to add to that as well, and say that we've got someone who's on the set pieces, or if we get him and he gets them right, can cause a massive bother. And he's not even in the list of players that I've just given. So I think that puts us in with a chance. I do. Am I confident? No, because they're such a good team. They really are. And there's that thing in the back of your mind that Declan Rice is going to score the winner. But, if we get it right, if we play at our best, we'll give them a game. I'll tell you that much.
I wasn't even thinking about the Declan Rice thing until you've just said that. Thanks for that, Gonzo. I'm mildly optimistic, and that's because we've just beat Man United. We're 6th in the league. Maybe it's like a feel-good festive thing. And like I said, I feel like the pressure's off. So I'm actually looking forward to this game because it's not like, we need to win, pressure. I'm really relaxed about this one. Kudus and Bowen are both in banging form. Paqueta's in banging form as well. So we've got a 3. As I've said before, if 2 of those turn up, we've got a chance of winning. if all three of them turn up, which they have done recently, we've got a very good chance of winning. Now, that's against most teams in the Premier League. Arsenal don't fall into that category. They're in the minority, which is the elite teams. They're better than those. So it's a bit of a leveler. But the thing that's stopping me being very optimistic or confident is David Moyes. Because his record away to Arsenal is still there. It's still applicable.
Yes.
He's never won there as a manager in the Premier League. So it's difficult to think, this is the year we finally do it. Like I say, I am optimistic, but Arsenal are a bloody good team. They're fantastic at the Emirates. I think there's only one league game they failed to win, and they drew it. Spurs, maybe it was Spurs, but they beat Man City at the Emirates. They beat Brighton at the Emirates. So they're beating teams that you would think they could beat, but big games, they've won them. This is another one. And I just think that A, Arsenal are just a bit too good. B, the manager, he's not going to... What he did in the last 20 minutes against Man United, I feel like that was changes from Moyes to try and win the game. I'm not sure he'll do that against Arsenal with 20 minutes to go for his 0-0. I think he might think 0-0's good for us. Whereas at home to Man U, I think he felt we can win this, and he was right. I'm not sure he'd think like that if it was 0-0 against Arsenal. He'd think we can get a draw from this, we can get 0. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'll bite your hand off for a point right now. You said to me, it finishes 0-0. I say, brilliant, I'll have that. Thank you very much. Really good result. Buzzing. Let's go into the Brighton game. But doesn't mean I want to see my manager play like that. It's two different things, right? What you want as a fan, what you want to see from your manager is two different things. Gonzo, any final words on your score prediction, please?
I think it's just going to be it's just going to be a tough game, because I just think they're going to swarm all over us. I really do, and I think they're going to put us to the test. But I do think we'll have a more of a resilience. I'm not expecting a Fulham game from us again. I think it's going to be one of the few occasions where David Moyes has the luxury of not only giving the players a rest, but also spending a little bit of time on the training ground to prepare for this one opponent. And I'm not sure we're able to do that regularly through the season, because we have game after game after game after
That's
game.
fair.
And then it comes down to whatever the tactical observations might be of the coaching staff to deal with whatever Arsenal do. It's time to spend some one-on-one time with the players and say, look, your opposite number is going to be doing this. This time he cuts inside. This time he does that. Their trigger is this. When such and such gets the ball, this player's going to do this. It gives you the luxury of doing a bit of that on the training pitch. That being said, I do think it's going to be a really, really difficult game. All I will say is, on this one, no result would surprise me. If we won there, I would be ecstatic. I mean, I'd be buzzing, and you know this. I'd be buzzing. Party time. Honestly, I'd rewrap my presents, put them under the tree and open them again. It would be party time. It really would. Be back on a run. A few of them like yesterday, but I can't quite shift it from my mind that. I'm sorry. Particularly everything you said about David Moyes. I was going to say 2-2, but what you said about Moyes, his record at Arsenal, that's a hard one to shift. I do think there's something brewing at West Ham with these tactics, though. I don't know. I still think Arsenal are going to win 2-1 with a Declan Rice winner. I really do. It's going to kill me. There'll be no Christmas presents anymore. I'll take the Christmas presents down the tip, quite frankly. But yeah, we can win. We definitely can. I've
never wanted you to be wrong so much, to be honest with you.
I want to be wrong.
I mean, for what it's worth, I'm going to predict an Arsenal win as well. But we've got a chance. But in order to win, I think we almost need three things to happen. We need Arsenal to not be at it, not at 100%. They need to be a couple of levels below where they should be. Because if they turn up and play like they should, and they have been, they probably win regardless of how we play. They're better than us. So we need Arsenal to have a dip in performance. We need Moyes to get everything right tactically, whether that be keeping it tight at the back, whether it be taking the shackles off, switching the team around at the right time. And that's a very difficult thing to do. We sometimes will criticise him and make on it's quite easy. It's not. In order to get everything right is near on impossible. You will get things wrong. Even when you win games, you still get things wrong. You've just... either it's not been capitalised on, it didn't really matter, whatever. It's very rare you have the perfect performance from a manager. Then on top of that, so you need Arsenal to have a dip, Moyes to get everything right, but then on top of that, we need all the players to turn up, all of them. Not when you play the likes of Luton, if the right 8 players of your starting 11 turn up, you possibly win the game.
Yeah.
Right, if Paqueta, Kudus and Bowen turn up, but Soufal's pretty crap and Zuma's a bit rubbish and Souček's a bit poor, you probably still get the win. No, that's not happening against Arsenal. All 11 need to turn up and play really well because should Soufal have a poor game, Martinelli will rip him apart, and then that will then cause problems for the rest of the team. So every single player needs to have a good game, and that means Kudus and Bowen remaining clinical, Paqueta pulling the strings, and I just can't bring myself to believe all those things will happen. So I'm going to say Arsenal 3, West Ham 1. I bloody hope I'm wrong. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this preview, please do drop a like on it by clicking the thumbs up. Subscribe to Hammers Chat. Myself and Gonzo will be live on, did we decide it was Thursday? We did. On Thursday night, an hour and 5 minutes before kickoff, we'll be live with our build-up show, so you can join us then. Enjoy it. Take care. See you in a bit.